Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
An Israeli man has just been reported murdered in the northern West Bank. 35-year-old Rabbi Raziel Shevach, a father of 6, was driving his car near the Havat Gilad outpost when another car pulled up next to him and opened fire. The rabbi was able to call for help, but later succumbed to his wounds in the hospital. The suspects are believed to be Palestinians, and the IDF has immediately put the nearby Palestinian city of Nablus under lockdown. They are also widening their manhunt for the killer or killers. IDF Chief of Staff Gadi Eisenkot has just visited the scene of the crime, but came under fire by local settlers for failing to take proactive measures to boost security in and around Jewish outposts in the West Bank. Hamas, on the other hand, has openly praised this horrific terror attack, pinning it on recent shifts in U.S. policy, including President Trump's bombshell decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and his threat to cut United States funding to the Palestinians for refusing to negotiate. Prime Minister Netanyahu has sent his deepest condolences to the family and promised justice and swift action to locate the terrorist. The Israeli Knesset is convening shortly on a plan to greatly boost Jewish presence in the West Bank. Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman has confirmed that the state plans to greenlight construction for over 1,200 new housing units in the region and advance plans for nearly 2,500 more homes in the near future. The Israeli government has been pushing forward with expansion of Jewish settlements in the occupied territories, often in the face of fierce debate and controversy. Most nations consider the settlements illegal since they are being built on land captured by Israel in the 1967 Six-Day War. The Palestinians also argue that the expansion destroys any hope for a future Palestinian state, though Israel says this is a matter to be worked out in direct negotiations. Those talks, however, have been at a standstill for nearly 4 years now. Despite President Trump's promise to get things going again, that doesn't seem likely, given the cold shoulder he's received from Palestinian leadership, again in the wake of his Jerusalem decision and threats to cut funding. Regardless, Israel is expected to give the full approval for these new Jewish homes very shortly. In the ever-increasing battle against BDS and for good PR, Israel's Foreign Affairs Ministry is warning that if the Treasury's proposed slashes to the 2019 budget are approved, Israel's image and even security could be at risk. Despite an increase of 3.5% in government expenditure, according to the proposal that came across ministry desks on Monday, at least a fifth of Israel's foreign missions and a third of its staff would be cut. Israeli ambassador to South Sudan and Foreign Ministry Workers Union Chairman Hanan Goder said the finance ministry must have been high when they wrote this crazy proposal. If the cuts go through, the Jewish state would lose, among many other things, most of its abilities to counter Arab propaganda online, to send aid overseas, to invite journalists and world leaders from every corner of the global community to Israel, and to foster positive relationships. Foreign ministry officials were quoted saying that there's an atmosphere of gloom at the office, and that, quote, whoever deals the fatal blow to the foreign ministry will have to account for the harm to the country's security that will result from it. There are no foreign relations without missions overseas and without diplomats, end quote. And all this at a time when Prime Minister Netanyahu continues to boast the increase in relations worldwide and the supposed continued efforts to advance that trend. In a still unsolved mix-up, a shipment of Israeli scout uniforms made their way to the shelves of a small clothing store in southern Saudi Arabia. Believed to be military uniforms due to the color, patches with Hebrew writing, and Israeli flags sewn onto the shirts, a series of serious responses has been set in motion. The situation first broke Sunday when an anonymous customer of the store in the city of Jizan purchased a shirt, not realizing what was on it. When he saw the flag and writing, he apparently filed an official complaint with the Saudi Ministry of Commerce. The response so far has only been that the complaint will be reviewed. The story didn't end there, though. Once images of the Scouts' uniforms hit the Saudi news channels, social media began spreading the story, with people calling for stricter regulations on imported goods and writing things like, quote, Israeli military clothing has invaded Saudi clothing shops, end quote. In the end, even Prime Minister Netanyahu's spokesperson, Ophir Gendelman, caught wind of the incident, commenting, quote, the Israeli Scouts uniform was sold at a Saudi clothes store for some reason and caused a huge brouhaha because of our flag and Hebrew writings. Some said it was an IDF uniform. Why didn't they just read the shoulder patch? Israeli Boy Scout uniforms are apparently very dangerous, end quote. An Israeli man who appeared to be intoxicated was arrested in Tel Aviv yesterday in connection to Holocaust-themed graffiti scrawled on the bust of former Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. The bust is located at Rabin Square, named after the late Prime Minister who was assassinated there by right-wing extremist Yigal Amir in November 1995. Rabin was shot by Amir at the end of a peace rally where Rabin had just spoken. The graffiti included the words, "Thank you, 6 million" in German, and a poor attempt at a swastika. After police saw the graffiti and apprehended the suspect just several hundred yards away from the bust, they found 2 knives and marker pens supposedly used in the crime on his person. The man has since been taken in for questioning.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.